Good morning and welcome to Sportuccino. I'm Richard Parr and you are watching live on YouTube, Facebook and on Periscope. Wow, look at this view. It is incredible. Signal Hill here in Cape Town. Absolutely incredible. Another beautiful day here and we've got so much to cover on today's show. We're going to be talking about the Australian Open. We're going to look ahead to the EFL Cup semi-final between Southampton and Liverpool. A huge T20 match between Sri Lanka and South Africa. That and much, much more. I've also got a fantastic guest for you from Heart FM. Mark Marshall's coming up on today's Sportuccino. But let's start the day with our morning sports headlines.
Serena Williams beats Joanna Konta in straight sets to reach the Australian Open semi-finals. In the men's draw, Grigor Dimitrov wins his quarter-final against David Goffin. The Ivory Coast are eliminated from the group stage of the Africa Cup of Nations after a 1-0 defeat to Morocco. And holders Paris Saint-Germain reach the French League Cup final after a 4-1 win over Bordeaux.
Yes, it's been another amazing day in Melbourne at the Australian Open. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But I want to tell you that today, that the logo we've got, the Sportuccino logo right there it is on your screen. That was designed by 99 Designs. They're a really fantastic company and they actually offer contests to freelancers around the world. So we got our logo designed by them and you can too. I will put a link to it on the Facebook page and on the YouTube page for you to give it a try. Let me know what you think. If you've got anything which might need designing, maybe it's a business card, maybe it's a poster. Have a think, maybe you need something designed for your website. Have a look at 99 Designs, click through our link, and if you do click through our link and you do use their service, you will be helping support our show, Sportuccino. It would be really fantastic if you could. All right, so Serena Williams is through to the semi-finals of the Australian Open, beating the 9th seed Joanna Konta. She won it in straight sets. Konta had been on pretty good form, but Serena, she is just so good, isn't she? 35 years old and through to the semi-final. She'll face Mirjana Lucic-Baroni in the semi-finals. And of course, her sister Venus is also in the semis. That means it's the first Grand Slam ever that two players over 35 are into the last four. That's absolutely incredible. And Lucic-Baroni is also in her 30s. So it's only the third time in the Open era that three of the four semi-finalists are all in their 30s. Really incredible stuff, showing that, you know, a lot of people used to think that tennis was a young ladies' game. You know, used to have all these young players coming through, Hingis, Kornikova, also talented in their teens. But the Williams sisters are proving that age really doesn't matter when it comes to tennis. Congratulations to Grigor Dimitrov. He beat David Goffin 6-3, 6-2, 6-4. He'll face the winner of Nadal versus Raonic, which is also happening today. And of course, we already know that it's going to be Roger Federer versus Stan Wawrinka in the semi-finals. That should be a great match between the two Swiss superstars. Federer, of course, is an absolute legend in the sport. And wouldn't it be great if we saw Rafael Nadal face Roger Federer in another Grand Slam final? I think in the last 12 months, none of us would believe that could happen. Neither of them even made it into the ATP World Tour finals. But look at this. They could be facing each other in the finals in Melbourne. It could be incredible. And we're talking about tennis on our poll today on Sportuccino. And we want to know, will we see Serena Williams face Venus Williams in the Australian Open final? Yes or no? Simple question. I really hope that that could happen. And let's have a look at the result of our last poll. And we wanted to know, will Tiger Woods win another golf major? Of course, he's returning to Torrey Pines on Thursday for the Farmers Insurance Open. And according to you, 50-50, you're split. Some of you think he could win another major. Some of you think, isn't going to happen. Tiger Woods won't win another major. Remember, you can see all of that on our Twitter page at Sportuccino. I would love for you to get involved. Now, I've got a man here right now from Heart FM. Mark Marshall is joining us live on Sportuccino. And Mark, I know you're a big golf fan, so we've got to start talking about our poll. Tiger Woods, do you think he'll ever win a major again?
Richard, morning. Thank you for having me on your show. No, absolutely not. I'm with that 50% that doesn't think he would win another tournament, let alone another major. I think his injuries that he's had over the last couple of years has just been too vast and too hectic for a golfing schedule for him. And you also need to look at the youngsters that are coming through. You've got the Jordan Spieth, the Ricky Fowlers, Henrik Stenson's in his early 30s. He's still a young golfer. And then you've got Tommy Fleetwood that won on the weekend. So there's a host of these young golfers coming through. Hideki Matsuyama, he's been brilliant on the PGA Tour. So I don't see Tiger Woods coming back from this. He's tried to play the odd tournament last year. That didn't work out. The injuries in golf, especially back, elbow, wrist, are injuries that end your career. So no, I don't think he would.
Woods' period was so dominant, and in the last couple of years we've seen so many different major wins. We've seen so many people who we think are going to be that next Tiger Woods, going to be that next superstar. We've seen people such as McIlroy, and then he kind of slips. Spieth, we all thought after he won those 2 majors in a row that he was going to almost win everything that year, and he's kind of slipped. Now Jason Day's world #1. Is any of those players really going to take the brass ring and be the next Tiger Woods, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think the fact that they all sort of level par, if you could excuse the pun, I think the likes of Jason Day, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, they're young golfers, but there's so much competition. You know, if you look also Tiger Woods 10 years ago versus equipment this time, things have also changed. You know, balls are striking better, they're stopping and spinning on greens that don't. So I don't see anybody being the next Tiger Woods. And it's nice in a way for a classic golfer that the likes of the Bobby Locks, you know, the Jack Nicklauses, the Arnold Palmer, the Gary Players, the Greg Normans, and the Tiger Woods, that's where it's ended. People like activity on a golf course. You know, spectators, if I look at Rory McIlroy with the SA Open that he played at Glendower Golf Club 2 weeks ago, the crowds that he pulled in just for the practice round is what the golfing tournaments are requiring, and more importantly in South Africa. So great to have him here, but no, I don't think he's going to take over the mantle.
We'll have to wait and see. And of course, you've got some amazing golf courses here in South Africa. Tell us about some of your favourites.
Oh, absolutely. We have wonderful courses in the Western Cape where we are now, and more specifically Cape Town. You've got some lovely Parkland-style courses. We have links golf courses, Atlantic Beach, Milnerton-style links. Your Parkland courses, you're looking at the likes of Pearl Valley. You're looking at Westlake, which is up against the Westlake and Lakeside Mountains. You've got Clovelly, that's situated sort of in a valley in between Glencairn, which is quite coastal. Beautiful courses out in the winelands, traditional golf courses, Durbanville, Stellenbosch, Mowbray. So we have so many, an abundance of great golf courses. And when you go up north, Johannesburg, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal, you have such a wide choice. If you're a traveller coming to South Africa to play golf, you have to try and play in each province.
And how's your handicap looking?
Well, it's okay. You know, I don't have the Tiger Woods handicap. I'm a single-figure golfer, so I haven't played often enough in the last few years. So I'd like to get back down to a low, sort of in between a 0 and a 5. I'm up sort of hovering 8, 9 at the moment.
Well, let's talk about the high level of sport going on in Cape Town right now. And there's a massive game in cricket tonight in Newlands. It's South Africa versus Sri Lanka, T20 decider. No Angelo Matthews, but crucially, the big story is the return of AB de Villiers for the Proteas. How big is his return for the team?
It's massive, Richard. It's huge. You know, I think for the longevity of this T20 side, we need AB to play in it. You know, he's proven his worth in the IPL. He's brilliant in every international tournament. Yes, he's been out injured, and he's not very well liked by the South African public right now because he's just pulling out of test matches to play in lucrative IPL or the Pakistan lead or the Caribbean, wherever it may be that he's choosing. But for this evening's game, massive that AB's back. Fahim Beard, the Proteas stand-in T20 skipper, he said yesterday they're looking to push AB to back number 3, perhaps moving David Miller to 4 to give him crease time, to give him on the wicket. He hasn't had much time. He played on the weekend, scored 100 in his return after a near 7-month layoff. He's a phenomenon. He's brilliant. He's proven it around the world. And I think Cape Town will come out this evening. It's a bit cloudy, a bit windy. We had a bit of overnight rain. That wicket's been covered for a day or so. So we won't have the Wanderers-style wicket where the ball It was slow off the track, and the Sri Lankans worked that well. I don't think the Proteas adjusted accordingly. I think Newlands this evening, I think a lot of runs will come. I reckon about 170, 180 is about par for this evening, and we will bowl quite well.
Do you not think that perhaps the Proteas need to think about life without AB? They've done so well kind of without him in the Test series. They're really starting to improve. I think Robin Peterson was saying there's so many good players coming through. Do they need to now think, okay, he was great, he has been great for us, but actually let's try and build this side without him. If he wants to go off and do these lucrative T20 competitions, we'll just go let him do it.
Yeah, I agree with Robin Peterson. I think we do have a wealth of young players coming through. The Sri Lankans aren't the best at Test cricket at the moment. They're also going through that transitional period. So I feel, yes, we need to move on from AB. I'm not 100% sure that Faf should be our captain. Yeah, I think he's a great player, but I think his mind is too active to be a Test match captain. So who do we replace him with? Right now, we're not quite sure. But I think let's take AB, move him out of the picture, bring in the youngsters that did perform in this series against Sri Lanka, build up some confidence, and let them carry on when we travel to England, when we play against India, and we play against Australia.
Now, you mentioned youngsters. Now, for me as a youngster, I always wanted to be a sports reporter, presenter, producer, and luckily doing Sportuccino and spending time with Al Jazeera, Sky Sports, etc., I've been able to do it. And similarly for you. And for any kind of young viewer watching who want to go into the same field as you and I, what tips would you have for them?
I think if you're playing sport as a child, and I refer to the sort of 0 to 10 age group, persist with your sport. Pick a sport that you like. Try and play more than one until you find that one that you're really passionate about. And try and play right through your schooling career. I think the problem with a lot of kids is they tending to play sport and then get distracted and move away from that. Once you've done that, you'll find yourself filtering into the media circles, hanging out with reporters, with sports presenters on radio shows, with traveling sports journalists. And from there, gain some experience. And if you're passionate about sport, you need to go into the media, because I firmly believe that the media around the world, and no disrespect to any journalists around the world, half of them have never played sport. It's a career that they've gone into, that they've studied for and decided, I'm not going into politics, I want to go into sport. So we're lacking those sportsman journalists. You've played sport. You had Robin Peterson, who's now doing commentary, one of South Africa's best left-arm spinners. We've had Robin Adams from Al Jazeera that's now moved back to South Africa. Good sportsman when he was a kid. We followed our passion. So anything that I could say to any child is play sport and then make that your career.
Yeah, and I think just following on that, I think it's always important for people to try and find jobs and careers that they're passionate about. You know, I was always motivated by the Really Wild Show presenter, famous animal program we have in the UK, Chris Packham, and he said to me, we've got everyone who wants to be on TV, but we don't have enough experts. So I think it's all about kind of the expertise. So obviously you're an expert and you're on Heart FM. Tell us about your journey to the radio station.
Well, it's been incredible. I happened, what I always tell people is I got into radio by mistake. I in fact went to a meeting. I was busy. I came off quite a big injury, and I had stopped playing sport. So I was trying to promote a local sports club in Cape Town. Baseball's quite a big sport in the Western Cape, and I was playing that as a young kid. And as I grew older, I was trying to help the club. So I went to go see a radio station in Cape Town, trying to promote a fundraising event that we had. And the meeting went from one meeting to a second one. I got called back and said, do you know these people that you played sport with? Yes, I captained that guy. I played in the same team. And from that came a conversation, would you ever like to work in radio? So I said, I've never thought about it. They said, would you? I said, absolutely. And that was the Thursday. The Saturday I started on air. So I had that break, but it was sport that got me to that position. And that goes back to what I'm saying with the children. If you want to do it, you've got to go the whole hog.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been really good to get your thoughts. We're going to play 5 favourite things in just a moment. But we've been talking about golf, we've been talking about cricket. But yesterday we were speaking to Justin Ford, and he was telling us about how Cape Town City FC are helping the community. Let's just have a little reminder of what Justin had to say.
Previously on Sportuccino.
The drive is really to take football back to the people. They are a side, as an organization, they're trying so much. They're trying to develop football in the city. They've got a Dream 100 sort of initiative where they're getting smaller clubs within the city to amalgamate and so forth, proved to be a little academy, if you want to call it that, for the main team as well, reaching out to the general public in terms of certain public servants, taxi drivers being able to get sort of discounts on tickets and so forth. And it's something special, and the people of Cape Town are liking that. They enjoying that.
It was really good to speak to Justin yesterday, and of course it's been really good to speak to Mark here, live from Cape Town, this beautiful city. Oh, this view is incredible, isn't it?
It's phenomenal. You're very fortunate to be this side of the mountain and with Camps Bay Beach behind us on a glorious day in Cape Town, and you need to make the most of it while you're here.
Definitely going to plan to. So Mark, let's learn a little bit more about you. Playing the game 5 favourite things. I'll quickly fire things at you. You give me the first answer which comes to your mind, and then I'll pick one to talk about a little bit more in detail at the end. All right, so let's go. What is your favourite book?
Sports Illustrated.
The magazine version, the
Absolutely.
annual one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Favourite song?
Probably Time to Say Goodbye, Andrea Bocelli.
Oh, beautiful. Did you see it when they did it with Claudio Ranieri when Leicester won the league?
I did indeed. That was phenomenal. What a moment.
Absolutely incredible. And the way Ranieri just stood there taking all in, incredible stuff. Anyway, I'm supposed to do this quick fire. A favourite city?
Cape Town.
Brilliant. Favourite film?
Probably Braveheart.
Oh, okay.
I think it's quite inspirational for sportsmen. It takes a guy that comes from nowhere to lead a nation. Shows you anybody can be a captain in a sports team.
For sure. And favourite food?
It has to be a very Cape Townian thing that's called a Gatsby. I'm not sure if you've had one yet. It's definitely a favourite. Only to be found. It's indigenous to Cape Town. You've got to try it out if you haven't yet.
Apparently, the Gatsbys taste the best when you're eating them off the hood of a car.
Absolutely. And then you also need to have a guava juice next to it.
Okay, great. So, if I was to go to one restaurant in Cape Town, where should I go?
You need to go to Shane's in Hout Bay. It's a fabulous restaurant. It's a chap that's been in the UK for the last sort of while, and he's returned to Cape Town, his roots. Fabulous restaurant.
Oh, great. I'll check that out. And I know it's called 5 favourite things, but I know you're a big fan of TV series, so I'm going to call it 6 favourite things, which doesn't really have any good alliteration, but we'll go with it anyway. What's your favourite TV series?
Oh, Lucifer by a country mile. I think he plays the role as Lucifer so well, and just the twists and turns in the series I really enjoy.
Well, Mark, it's been so good to talk to you. Just
Thank
before you go, why don't you tell us how we can continue to follow your great sports knowledge and great knowledge about Cape Town and everything going on in your world on Twitter and any other forms of social media, please?
Well, you're welcome to pop onto my Facebook page. It's Mark Marshall. It's Mark with a K and a Marshall with 2 L's at the end. My Twitter's @SportMarshall and Instagram's @SportMarshallCT for Cape Town.
I love the name Sport Marshall. Where did it come from?
Well, it was a email account that I created when I started in radio about 18 years ago, and it's just stuck. So people in Cape Town, colleagues, they call me the Sport Marshal.
Oh, wonderful. Well, the Sport Marshal, thank you for being on Sportuccino.
Thank you, Richard.
Mark Marshall from Heart FM. It's been really good to talk to him this morning. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So, as we mentioned about young children and kids wanting to kind of push their way through their career and through their life, one thing they can do is by goal setting, and that's what I try to do with myself now, is set myself a goal every single day. And I do it on our Snapchat page, which is, of course, @Sportuccino. So let's have a look at what's on our Snapchat page today. Well, today it's not quite so much goal of the day, but it's like the goal of every day here in Cape Town, and that's to continue to enjoy everything this city has to offer. One of the great things in store in Cape Town today is the T20 International between South Africa and Sri Lanka, the decider. So that is my goal of the day, to go and see this great match at Newlands. That's my goal of the day. What's yours? So we've got comments coming up on the Facebook page. Justin Ford says, he says, ha 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 ha, guava juice with your Gatsby. Legends there, talking about Mark Marshall with the Gatsby and the guava juice. Justin Ford, obviously our guest yesterday on Sportuccino. It was really good to get his thoughts. Of course, if you've got anything to say, you can join the conversation on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and of course, we are live on Periscope. We are absolutely everywhere. And maybe when you're not listening to Mark on Heart FM in your car on the radio, you could plug into us as a podcast on iTunes and on Stitcher. It's one of the ways I actually like listening back to the show. I listen back and go, oh, well, that's an interesting stat. I forgot I even said it. So go and try and download Sportuccino on iTunes and on Stitcher. It would be really good to hear from you. So, South Africa versus Sri Lanka. We spoke about it with Mark. AB de Villiers returns. But one thing I did want to mention is that Angelo Matthews, the captain of Sri Lanka, he is out injured for this crucial game. Would love to get your predictions on this. Who's going to win? Will it be South Africa? Will it be Sri Lanka? Let us know on Facebook and on YouTube. All right, so I have travelled all the way from Brighton, England to Cape Town, South Africa. So I've got to give you another daily travel tip. Now, before I've said you should definitely do a cycling tour, and I still believe that because you get to see so much of these cities which you might not see in a car or using public transport. But if you can't cycle, if you've got any injuries, I would highly recommend that you do the open top bus tours. And in fact, right down here, the bus actually passes us here on Camps Bay. When I was last in Cape Town 2 years ago, I did the tour and I got to see so much. You got to see Table Mountain, you got to see Signal Hill, round to Camps Bay, down to Sea Point, down to Green Point, through the CBD. And what's great about them is for a relatively low cost, you can hop on and hop off. I also did it in Italy and went to the Colosseum and saw the Fountain de Trevi. I got to see so much. I've done it in Spain as well when I lived in Madrid. I would highly recommend it. Yes, it's more than your standard cost for a bus, so don't just use it to get from A to B, but take a day with it. Do it on when it's a very sunny day and you can make the most of the beautiful weather. Don't be an idiot like me. Make sure you put some sunscreen on. But that is my travel tip of the day. Try and use one of the open top tour buses in the city that you go and visit. All right, so I've been able to try some of the amazing food that Cape Town has to offer. We have Mark Marshall giving us a restaurant recommendation and talking about the Gatsby. But I love trying out new things related to sports, health and fitness. It can be absolutely anything. So let's have a look at today's product review. Bar energy bar. Yes, that is me a bit sick as well. 5 nuts, Baccaland. Well, no, I'm not going to read that bit. But what have we got involved in this product? Let's have a look today. So it's 4 grams of protein. That's not very much protein. So this wouldn't be a good snack for after the gym. 22 grams of carbs. That's quite high. 9 grams of fat. It's 190 calories. It doesn't seem that it would be that healthy for you. It's got cocoa glaze, so it's not good if you're lactose intolerant. Doesn't say anything about being gluten free. It's probably the nuts which is actually going to give you the energy, but crucially, let's see if it tastes any good. Oh, it's not what I expected. I thought it would be more of just like a tracker bar. A bit of chocolate on the back, bit of nuts on the top. Let's just give it a quick try. It's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. The Bar Energy Bar. Try and say that 3 times fast. So the Bar Energy Bar, whether it gives me some energy, I might save the rest of this. See if it gives me a little bit of energy later in the day. See if it can get me through this little bit of cold that I've got going on and let me enjoy the cricket between South Africa and Sri Lanka. All right, that is today's product review. So, huge game in the EFL Cup tonight. It's Liverpool versus Southampton. Southampton lead 1-0 thanks to a goal from Nathan Redmond when they met in the first leg a few weeks ago at St Mary's. Liverpool are, of course, the most successful side in the history of the EFL Cup, while Southampton, they've not reached the final since 1979. That is a long, long time ago. And a little bit of team news for you now. John Matip looks like he could finally play again for Liverpool after 6 weeks out. Of course, the last couple of weeks he's been unable to play due to this little dispute with FIFA. FIFA not allowing Matip to play because Cameroon had called him up for the Africa Cup of Nations, even though he says that he retired from Cameroon in 2014. So he could return. How important do you think that is for Liverpool? Let me know on the Facebook page. Well, from the other end of one returning centre-back to one who might not play for Southampton, Virgil van Dijk has got an ankle problem. He's been rumoured with some big clubs for a move this transfer window, one of them being Manchester City. I think he'd be a great signing for them. I think they really need a defender like him. But he's still at Southampton, but he might miss this game tonight. How big a loss do you think he could be if he is unable to pass fit? I would love to get your thoughts on all of that. All right, one thing we haven't done today is mention our Instagram page. Every single day we have a brand new statistic related to sports. Anything from sports history to goals being scored and everything related to that. So why don't I show you what's on our Instagram page today. Two-time Australian Open champion Johan Kriek is South Africa's only Grand Slam winner. Yeah, the last time South Africa won a Grand Slam was Johan Kriek. Long time back in the early 80s. Wow, could they ever change that? In fact, we should ask Mark Marshall that. But don't worry, I've got more great guests coming up on Sportuccino. All right, just before I go, let's have a quick reminder of today's sports headlines.
Serena Williams beats Joanna Konta in straight sets to reach the Australian Open semi-finals. In the men's draw, Grigor Dimitrov wins his quarter-final against David Goffin. The Ivory Coast are eliminated from the group stage of the Africa Cup of Nations after a 1-0 defeat to Morocco. And holders Paris Saint-Germain reached the French League Cup final after a 4-1 win over Bordeaux.
Yes, the man who led Ivory Coast to winning the Africa Cup of Nations has actually knocked them out this time, coaching Morocco in that 1-0 win. Aloui giving Morocco the win over Ivory Coast. DR Congo also 3-1 winners over Togo. So it's DR Congo and Morocco who go through to the next round of the Africa Cup of Nations in Group C. More matches going on in Group D in the Africa Cup of Nations today. And it's going to be Egypt versus Ghana and Uganda versus Mali. Ghana already through, and I believe Egypt and Uganda still both have a chance of going through to the next round. We already know some of the fixtures for the next round on Saturday. It's going to be Burkina Faso against Tunisia and Senegal versus Cameroon. It's been a highly entertaining Africa Cup of Nations so far. And it's been a highly entertaining Sportuccino today. We've come towards the end of the show. It's been really good to talk to you live from Cape Town. On tomorrow's show, I'll give you my full review of being at the game between South Africa and Sri Lanka at Newlands. Can't wait for it. If you've enjoyed this show, please share it on Facebook and let people know about it on YouTube. If you don't like our page already, I would love it if you could do that. I'd love it if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to us on iTunes. All right, I've been Richard Parr. You've been watching Sportuccino, and I will be with you tomorrow, live from 8 GMT, live from 10 AM Cape Town time on Thursday. Goodbye for now.